well, y'all don't know this, but when he came to visit us in Oklahoma, he had a load that came to Oklahoma. He brought his big old 40-foot trailer in our suburbia neighborhood, and it was a big old like metal box or something. I don't know, but he was there for a good 3 days because, and I listened to him like I was working in my office. I listened to him call broker after broker, negotiate, and he wasn't going to budge, but he was trying to get back home at the time. And so he like was really trying to like stay firm. And that's one thing he wasn't afraid to do is turn away freight. Like those brokers had to realize they have, or you have something they need. And it's different when you can walk away and say, you know what, that's not going to serve me. I'm going to make more money sitting on my couch, you know. And so he would sit there until we find that perfect load, and being patient and having the grit to call after call and after rejection, or you know, whatever the case might be. I think that says a lot about who you are. And so when you transition to call these businesses, tell us about that. How did you find these businesses? What did you do? What did you say?
Don't always ask for the person in charge in shipping department, because usually when you call, you know, a company, it's usually like a receptionist. They don't really.
They can't give you anything.
Yeah, exactly. Or I'm more of an in-person thing, so I'll show up or whatever if it's like local.
Yes.
Excuse me, but I mean, I would just call them, and I mean, I would say probably, like more folks are gonna say no, but you kind of just have to, like kind of like roll with the punches, and no means next, so you just go on to the next one.
And no is the worst that's gonna happen. Like that's the worst that's gonna happen.
Correct.
So where are you at currently with your rate per mile, if you don't mind us asking? And then also kind of what does your dedicated work look like?
I have a rate per mile.
Oh, you have like flat contracted rates?
Yeah, so like one guy I deal with, it's like full parts. So but that one is more labor intensive. But like this guy, I worked for him before I started the business, and I started the business, and I'm like, oh, like I wonder if they can use me. And lo and behold, like they've been using me for the past 3 or 4 years now,
Mm-hmm. And it was just through a broker, right? It was just through a broker. Like you had been calling for that same company. It was just through a broker.
So this one I worked for before I started the business.
Oh.
My main guy that I deal with in Maine was like the pipe that goes into the ground, for like water and like wires and stuff. That guy I found through a broker. I did a couple loads, and I'm like, you know what, man, like let me just ask for the guy or whatever. And I met the guy, and I told him I was local. So from my house to him to pick up is only about 2 hours, and that to me is local. So he's like, yeah, you know what, like we could definitely use you, and I don't want to keep going to the broker because I mean honestly, one company, like they don't really want to go through more people. So
right.
Like they can call you directly and say, hey, I got this load going to Vermont or New Hampshire or Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
Then they'll call me, and I think I've been doing with him like 2 or 3 years, and from the spring to the fall, man, I'm busy, man. I'm busy.
Nice. That's the sweet spot. And like the thing, okay, so as an internship, start with this strategy of building business relationships for our carriers, what I was thinking, and correct me if I'm wrong, I was coming across the situation of a company that would want a fleet of trucks. And because like, I would imagine a larger company not having like, can you imagine them trying to get, if they have 50 loads a day to be moved, what is one person gonna, like, how is that gonna be effective? Have you ever gotten like rebuttals back saying, oh, we only want asset or a fleet or anything? Or do you go with like smaller companies? Okay.
like I guess I'm the guy once or twice a month. So it's not consistent, but he does call me. It's a guy in Mass, and they do steel. And he called me yesterday, and he wanted to see if I could do a load today, but I couldn't because it was like 24,000 pounds.
Did you tell him you have a broker friend that can get them done for you? Come on, Josh, we're friends.
No, I didn't even.
You could have gave him Rich's info.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like I don't know.
Yeah. Which, by the way, guys, Josh and Rich grew up together. My husband and Josh grew up together.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I can definitely call him back, or I can give you the number.
Oh yeah, we'll do it.
You guys can call him.
Yeah, we'll take it from there. We are just kind of looking to build up our carrier network too. But like what I always say is our job as a broker on the broker side is halfway done if we have a driver that we know is good and can get the job done effectively, right? So ultimately, I don't mind like at all even searching for hotshot businesses. If Josh wasn't already booked and busy, trust me, I've called him multiple times to ask him to be my guinea pig, say, can I call and try to get these connections. So I think what we're going to try to do is focus on the good drivers that we have, and like if we find hotshot stuff, I would love to call you and give you the best prices possible, and like I think a lot of hotshot guys are struggling because they don't know how to work and market on the business side, because that's really hard to be behind the wheel, getting the loads and all of the stuff done for the load, but also marketing and cold calling. That's a lot to manage, but Josh is just a unicorn. So
I'll drive by on all these. Like a granite slab place. I'll stop in and give him my card and say, hey, yada yada yada, from the area, blah blah blah. I mean,
nice.
You just never know, what hit you'll get. Like the main guy, the pipe guy, man. I can't even imagine him, him having this much business and me being this busy. And he loves me, like Christmas time, he gave me this all this stuff, like clothes and like little pens and.
He gave you a Christmas gift?
Yeah, like
okay.
The whole bag full of stuff. He's like, "Hey, man, this company stuff here, take it, bro. Your wife." And that sweater, like my wife loves it so much. She's like, "Oh my goodness, this is the best material ever."
Oh my goodness. Well, now our expectations are the bar has been risen. Now we're all going to be determined to get shippers that give us Christmas gifts. That's my new goal. Okay, so you have a CDL, a 40-foot hotshot, a Ford F-350, and you've been staying regionally, but you used to do OTR work. Now looking back at your revenue versus OTR versus regional direct business relationships, is it more profitable to do what you're doing or go over OTR? Was that more profitable?
It's less wear on the truck. I mean, like, why would you want to drive, OTR?
Right.
I mean, some people like it, but I mean, I have a wife and, kids, and I don't want to be gone 2 or 3 weeks at a time.
Yeah. And you did that for a while.
Yeah. I mean, I only went to, a couple times or whatever, but I went because the money was right. And the trip to California was because of family, but I was working at the same time,
Right.
But I mean, I would say it kind of varied because I noticed like out west, like in the Midwest, like the rate per mile is more than the Northeast. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. I mean, it is what it is. But I would definitely say local, and your own customers is a big, huge plus.
Work smarter, not harder. Yeah. Work smarter, not harder. That's what I say. Because if you can build those connections and see, honestly, Josh, I mean, it would be nice to say that Josh could have you could have definitely benefited from having that person to making calls for your company, but he was doing it all, man. I mean, wheeling and dealing anytime, Like, he was behind the wheel, I'm sure, making calls and making it happen. You should be super proud of yourself and what you've done here, dude.